Welcome to another edition of What's Behind the Door. Today we're visiting Dave at Dave's Garage in the East Valley of Phoenix. Let's see if he's home.
Come on in.
Well, hi Dave.
How you doing?
This is Dave, and I have to be honest. I've gotten over my initial sense of overwhelmness because I wanted to take a quick tour with him. But I'm going to take you first to what I think is the most important thing in here. And this is just really, really sweet. I've never seen anybody do this before. And Dave's going to explain this to you, and then we're going to go through the vehicles. But let me walk over here, because this is his man cave. And how often in a man cave do you see a mannequin with a wedding dress, and then you see a military uniform? So tell us, Dave, this is just beautiful. Tell us the story behind what we're looking at.
Well, my mom and dad passed away in 2010, and we turned around and cleaning out their house. They turned around and my brother said, well, what are we going to do with this? It's too good to throw away. And so I said, I know exactly where we can put it. And so my mom and dad are with me every day.
And Dave made this beautiful collage. This is his mom and dad on their wedding day, which was in the 20s, right?
Correct.
And yep. Here he's got, you know.
That's the paper announcement in the 20s.
Here.
And then that's my mom and dad at my daughter's wedding just before they passed away.
And here's some degrees here. Here's some pictures. Oh boy, what a handsome couple. What a handsome couple back in the day.
That was just before my dad shipped off in World War II.
Faith, hope, love. All right, now we're going to get into the car collection here. And since this is Arizona, you really don't need the coal stove over in the corner, but we can't overlook that. And Dave is going to tell us about his very first car. Here's a picture of it here that he got near St. Joseph, Missouri. And tell us about that, how you were 16 in high school?
15.
15 in high school, and
I went
he saw
down
a beautiful car.
Little coupe across the road,
right,
downtown, and I said, Dad, I want a car like that.
Right.
Well, Dad said, okay, well, let's go talk to him. So we went and talked to him, and he says, oh, I know where we got a four-door.
Oh, okay.
So we drove 40 miles north of St. Joe, and they pushed this thing out of the garage, and that's what I saw.
With the chicken wire.
Chicken wire on the roof, exposed springs, rusted.
And your heart sank.
And my heart just went
because
down.
You being 15, you wanted to get and go, and you wanted,
oh, yeah.
You wanted the girls, and you didn't want to have any work. So what did Dad offer you
So Dad said, we're going to loan you the money to restore it.
Right.
And so this way it kept me out of trouble my high school junior year. And so I had my own separate little garage that we lived in. And I had my bedroom over the garage, so I was out there at 10, 11 o'clock my junior year in high school restoring it all the way.
Now tell us, you got done with it in 65?
65.
And how much did you have into it?
I had $2,600
which is
total.
A fair amount of money. Okay,
That was a lot of money.
We're gonna walk around here, and we're gonna pull back, and we're gonna show you Dave's car that he's had 54 years?
54 years.
54 years now. So he had a second restoration. And not that much was changed, but the second restoration was a lot more costly. And he's had this car, you've driven this car to Texas.
All the way up to Vancouver, Canada.
Vancouver, Canada. This car will go anywhere.
Yeah, it's been everywhere.
So he had a favorite inclination for the Model A. And then that leads us into, I didn't really ask him about this one, but we'll go around the gas pump. Tell us about this 31.
So this is a 31 Cabriolet.
Okay.
With a Miller overhead valve engine in it, which is actually a racing motor of the time on original block. And I've had this car doing about 75 miles an hour.
Is this an Arizona car?
This is an Arizona car.
Now, how did you happen to come by this car?
One of the buddies in our club.
This is a local Model T club.
Model A club.
Model A club,
yeah, Model
okay.
A club actually had a dealership in Oregon, Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
And he decided that his wife couldn't get in the car anymore, so he wanted to sell it.
Okay.
So that's when I acquired it.
It's a tight space here, but we're going to pull back and show you this car, which is absolutely beautiful.
You need to see the motor. This is what
Dave wants me to see the motor on all these cars because he's a motor guy. Oh my goodness.
That is a Miller overhead valve engine. So here's the original block from here down, and then this is what draws it from about 47, 48 horsepower up to almost 90 horsepower.
Wow.
Which in that day was just a lot of horsepower.
That was a lot of horsepower. The only thing that I can think of that would match that, and it was a little bit later, were the Ford tractors that they were doing, the 8s. You could get a high horsepower output because you needed it. You get a 60 horsepower.
Correct.
If you ordered them special. Well, that's a hell of a car.
So you can see what 90 horsepower does.
Okay, and then we got a knick-knack case for you folks that like knick-knacks. And
That's my catch-all.
That's his catch-all, and he's got more than one of these cases. And then we get into the Model Ts. And tell us about this first one that we're looking at here.
So that's a 1916 that my dad had for 25 years.
This was your dad's Model T.
And I restored it in 2007 and took it with two other buddies to Centerville, Indiana from Flagstaff, Arizona.
That was one of the ones that went on the Centennial Tour. There were three of you.
Correct.
And one lost a crank along the way.
Yep.
And this is the banner that you had, or the apron that you had for it. And here's two of the cars that finished. And you had a lady that didn't want to drive her T, but she followed you with support. And you already told me that 2008 Centennial was like nothing you would ever experience.
Bill Ford was there.
Bill Ford was there.
That was the largest group of Model Ts since Henry Ford. And we had 750 Model Ts running around that town.
And we're going to give you a look at this beautiful job, man, oh man, that he did on this for his dad. Oh, goodness. Did you do the bed too?
Yes.
Look at this. He's got the tire pump, and he's got some Budweiser cases here.
Those get loaded in the back for display when we go display the car, which we're going to do in January.
Okay, and this is for the MTFCI meet that they're having in Phoenix, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and this leads us into the next vehicle, which took you 4 years to do.
To build.
And this is a 1917 delivery. And you built this from the ground up. It took you...
Frame up, so...
It took you 2 years of doing research.
Yeah, 2 years of doing the research to make sure that I got the measurements on the box. And they had, Ford would put out the chassis, and then they'd go to different companies and actually have the boxes custom made.
And he showed me an album here. Is it the Copperwaith Pie Company wagon?
Yes.
So that was the principal inspiration.
Yeah, in Connecticut.
And then you showed me the engine on this one too. And the reason that you decided on a 1917 is that you have a 1917 engine. And it only has ran like 4 hours you took and did the restoration on it. And the work on this, folks, I can't tell you. Russ up in Flagstaff advised Dave on pinstriping. He said, you got to pinstripe it. And this whole thing is pinstriped by hand. It's just exquisite. Got a suitcase on the running boards. Look at those wheels. And we come over here and tell us about this title. This is a title for the engine.
Yeah,
right.
We had the original title with the motor number and a 1917 Ford truck title. And that would actually match my license plate to my title to my car, all three of them.
And we're going to come around the back here, and this wasn't cheap. I'm not going to tell you how much, but he happened to find...
That's an original
1917 Arizona license plate.
And it's the only year they had the bullhead on the license plate.
And this is just amazing. He found this at the San Diego swap meet in the car corral. How many years ago?
About 15 years ago.
15 years ago. And it's a Survivor. It's a genuine Survivor Cadillac.
1935.
35 that actually came from Arizona. And it managed to be over in San Diego. I'm going to let him open the back door there. It's original interior. Look at the embossing on the door. This is all original. Hasn't really been cleaned or anything.
But you can tell it's a Survivor. Let me close the door and you can hear it.
Yeah, listen to this. Got a tear over there. Look at these gauges. Look at that gauge cluster. And it ran when you put it in here.
Yeah. This is the original advertising for it. The advertisement was in the magazine November 23rd, 1935. Look at the price on this car.
The LaSalle was $1175. Look how much more expensive the Cadillacs were than the LaSalle. I mean, the model, and how much more expensive the Fleetwood was. How beautiful is that? And I'm going to pan around here. He's got a Route 66 sign. He's got all kinds of signage on the wall. I met Dave because I dropped off a Model T, which he got to drive for Keith and Carol, and he told me I had to come and look in this room. And right away I thought of my What's Behind the Door segment that I do on Facebook. And tell us about this piano.
This piano, my wife and I bought probably 25, 30 years ago and brought it down here. It's a player piano and it still plays.
And if your wife doesn't know where you're at, she comes out here to the man cave.
She comes out to find me.
And we got some chairs here.
Yep.
We got the big screen. Got a Texaco pump. So I'll tell you, I never know what's behind the door. In this case, it's a really kind gentleman who allowed me to video his absolutely stunning collection. But I got to tell you, the tribute to his mom and dad, that's just beautiful. That's my favorite thing in here. And that's it for me. I'm going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching this. Check back every once in a while because you never know what I'm going to run into when I roll up. If you've been following me, every day is an adventure. Thanks a lot. Hope everybody has a good 2020. I'm signing out. This was probably my last video on this series for 2019. What a way to end the year.